missing link. Gnar is a prehistoric yordle with a soft, cuddly face and a terrifying temper. After being trapped in true ice, Gnar became frozen in time until his prison finally weakened enough for him to break free. In-game, Gnar is a volatile top lane champion who cycles between speedy ranged mini Gnar and tanky monstrous mega Gnar. Mini Gnar is a sprightly little guy thanks to his passive, which gives him bonus movement speed, attack speed, and range. However, he's also got a temper, Rage Gene. With it, Mini Gnar generates rage whenever he's in combat, gaining bonus rage whenever he deals damage. Once Gnar fills his bar, he becomes aggravated, transforming after a few seconds, or on his next ability cast, into a terrifying monster, Mega Gnar. Mega Gnar gains bonus health, armor, magic resist, and attack damage, but loses his mini form's bonus movement speed, attack speed, and range. After transforming, the rage bar slowly drains, and he transforms back into mini Gnar once it's empty. Finally, once he's back in mini form, Gnar can't gain rage for a while. He's tired. Mini Gnar's Q is Boomerang Throw, which serves as his primary damage and harass ability. Gnar throws out his boomerang in a straight line skill shot, dealing damage to the first enemy struck before slowing and returning toward Gnar. Boomerang Throw deals reduced damage to all enemies struck after the first, and it can't hit the same target twice. Once the boomerang turns, it travels back towards wherever Gnar is heading. If he catches it, Gnar significantly reduces the ability's cooldown, which is absurdly long otherwise. Boomerang Throw is a great tool for last hitting and harassing your lane opponent from range. Up next is Mini Gnar's W, Hyper. Gnar passively applies stacks of Hyper with his basic attacks and abilities. Stacking Hyper 3 times on the same target deals bonus magic damage based on the target's max health, and grants Gnar a huge but temporary movement speed boost. Gnar can apply stacks of Hyper to multiple targets simultaneously, and trigger the stacks to refresh his speed boost. Additionally, Hyper Speed Boost automatically triggers when transforming back to Mini Gnar. Trigger Hyper as often as you can during laning to win trades and keep away from your opponent. Gnar's E is Hop. When activated, Gnar skips a short distance to a target location, gaining an attack speed boost for a few seconds. If Gnar hops on a unit, he bounces, continuing in the same direction, applying a slow and dealing damage based on his max health if he bounces on an enemy. Note that when he hops into a cluster of enemies, Gnar only damages the target closest to his landing spot. And that if he's stunned, snared, or rooted during his initial hop, he won't bounce at all. Hop is really useful for juking enemies through the jungle by bouncing through neutral camps. Here are a few examples of hoppable spots. Save Hop to escape from jungle ganks. It's awesome. Gnar's ultimate is Gnar. As Mini Gnar, it only functions as a passive, giving him even more movement speed whenever he triggers Hyper. In Mega form, Gnar's Q swaps out his boomerang for a big freaking boulder. Or in some cases, a house. Boulder Toss is a straight line skill shot that stops the first target struck, slowing and damaging all nearby enemies. Once the boulder's landed, Gnar can lumber over to it and pick it up to drastically lower its cooldown. Use Boulder Toss when chasing an enemy. You'll pick it up as you make your pursuit, giving you multiple opportunities to throw it again for extra slows and damage. Unlike Mini Gnar, Mega Gnar has an active W, Wallop. After a brief windup, Gnar smashes his massive paws into the ground, damaging and stunning all enemies in front of him. Mega Gnar wallops so hard that he can't be interrupted by stuns during the windup. Since Mini Gnar has no active W, Wallop is always available when Gnar needs to transform. Use it for a surprise transformation when your other abilities are down. Mega Gnar isn't quite as bouncy as Mini Gnar, so while the latter hops, Mega Gnar just crunches. Crunch is another short leap to a target location, only this time Mega Gnar lands with a bang, slowing and literally dealing tons of damage to everybody near his landing site. Note that if you fill your rage bar as Mini Gnar before hopping onto a target, you'll bounce off them, transform during the second leap, then crunch as you land. Use Crunch to dive into team fights. Gnar has limited mobility, making crunch the most effective way to get into the thick of a fight. Finally, Gnar's ultimate is Gnar, a huge ability that throws all nearby enemies in a targeted direction, damaging and slowing them. If Gnar throws an enemy into a wall, including turrets and jungle walls, they'll take increased damage and be stunned. Use Gnar to disable as many enemies as you can during big team fights. It's especially effective in closed-off areas like the jungle and Baron Pit. Gnar is the only champion in League of Legends whose transform you can't directly control. When facing a team fight, you'll play differently depending on which form you're in or about to be in. Here are some quick combos to help you crunch into and hop out of fights. If you're about to become Gnar, here's your typical game plan for initiating on a team fight. As Gnar, first keep your distance. As you're about to transform, get in position to hop in. Find a bouncy target and use E to catapult yourself into the enemy team. Once there, use Gnar to shove enemy champions toward the nearest wall or obstacle. Follow up with Wallop on any stunned targets before throwing a house. Party. While Gnar's got the health and resistances to take a pummeling, Gnar's just a fragile little Teemo in comparison and needs range to survive. If you're already fighting as Gnar, use Wallop just before turning Mini, taking advantage of Hyper's speed boost to gain some distance as you throw out a boomerang toward your pursuing enemies. Save Hop for emergencies, focusing on attacking and queuing to whittle your opponents down from range. When laning with Gnar, use your range to your advantage. Trade with your boomerang and basic attacks to trigger Hyper and bully your opponent so you can farm safely. Gnar lanes very differently. His AoE abilities give him great wave clear for shoving the lane. Just keep an eye out for ganks, because he's way less mobile in this form. Past level 6, Gnar can also chain his abilities together to keep his enemies stunned and slowed. Leading in with Wallop, he uses the stun to land his ultimate, and combos Boulder Toss with Ignite for surprising burst damage. Gnar has the potential to turn around fights by using his transformations effectively. Though he's outnumbered and low on health, Gnar uses Skarner as a springboard to burst down Syndra with his Mega combo. Note that Gnar has great burst, but lacks the sustained damage to continue fighting Skarner. He instead uses Boulder Toss and Wallop to stall for time, knowing that once his Rage Bar depletes, he'll get Hyper's speed boost as he transforms back into Gnar, at which point, he's pretty much uncatchable. Keep in mind that Gnar can hop over small walls to engage in fights. Note that by catching his boomerang with every throw, Gnar is able to deal better sustained damage, and, since his abilities share the same cooldown between forms, have his Boulder Toss ready for when he goes Mega. Gnar has excellent positioning here, able to shove Lucian into the turret with his ultimate, lock him up with Wallop for the Quadra kill. Thanks for tuning in to the Gnar Champion Spotlight. Please subscribe to the Riot Games YouTube channel and leave us your comments just below the video.